Hi, I'm Elliot Siegel, and I'm Chief of Radiology for the Maryland VA healthcare system, and Professor and Vice Chairman at the University of Maryland. And it's my privilege to give you sort of a brief whirlwind tour and introduction to the National Biomedical Imaging Archive, the nbia. And in this presentation, I'm going to do an overview of SEEBIG just very briefly, and an introduction to the National Biomedical Imaging Archive. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the functionality of nbia, and I'll do a demonstration of nbia as well. And then I'll talk briefly about next steps and some resources that are available to you if you're interested in being able to take advantage of the service that nbia offers at NCI, or alternatively, if you're interested in downloading the software and setting up a version of the archive yourselves. So most of you probably already know that SEEBIG is an information network that enables all constituencies in the cancer community, whether you're researchers or clinicians or patients, to share data and knowledge to accelerate the discovery of new diagnostics and therapeutics and improve patient outcomes. The vision of SEEBIG, as you know, is to adapt or build tools for collecting, analyzing, integrating, and disseminating information associated with cancer research and care, connecting the cancer research community through a shareable, interoperable infrastructure, and to deploy and extend standard rules in a common language to more easily share information. I personally have clinical responsibility for the imaging workspace within the SEEBIG program. And one of the really interesting projects that we've had that has received a lot of attention and has been utilized by thousands of people across the world at this point is the nbia, which, as I mentioned, stands for National Biomedical Imaging Archive. What this represents is two different things. It represents a searchable national repository that's supported by the NCI's SEEBIG group that integrates in vivo cancer images with clinical and genomic data. It provides the cancer research community, industry, and academia with public access to DICOM images, image markup, annotations, and rich metadata. So overall, one of the aspects of the nbia is a service that's run by NCI that already has a large collection of really interesting libraries of medical images that are all in DICOM format. And the idea behind nbia is to store radiology images, and then eventually we're looking at variants of nbia to store pathology and other types of images as well in DICOM and other formats as well. Currently, the emphasis is on diagnostic imaging / radiology images, and the emphasis has been on DICOM images. So let's talk a little bit about who might be interested in using nbia. It's really targeted to a number of different types of users, particularly researchers who want to capture images from their own imaging modalities or their own PACS systems and store them in a separate searchable image repository. And one could also imagine a clinical utility for nbia as well. And so the target users would include radiologists, nuclear medicine specialists, radiation oncologists, clinical trial managers, and really anybody who utilizes diagnostic images. With regard to core functions, the current release of nbia allows users with the proper security clearance, because it does employ role-based security, to be able to download imaging studies or series or individual images after specifying the type of images that are desired. It also allows you to be able to do a download, and if it gets interrupted, to resume the download. It also allows you to be able to make a query for a certain type of images that you're interested in, and then in the future you're able to update that query as new images come online on the system. Also, measurements that you make can be saved on the system as well. So overall, the majority of the images in nbia are completely freely accessible to the public, but it also has the capability of being able to store images associated with ongoing clinical trials, or to associate and store images that are associated with collections that are not yet meant to be shared with the general public, but just a subset of users. So let's talk a little bit about how nbia might fit into and improve current research workflow. And as an example, we're using images from the Osteoarthritis Initiative. And so the current workflow at the Osteoarthritis Initiative, which contains a series of MR studies of the knee and also conventional radiographs of the knee, is that if a researcher, such as myself, for example, at the University of Maryland, wants to have access to those images to do a project, such as development of a computer-aided a computer-aided detection program, then as it used to exist, one would need to actually mail a hard drive into the folks who are running the Osteoarthritis Initiative imaging project, and then have them write images on there, or alternatively they would be able to send you and loan you a hard drive where they would put the images. Creates a number of problems, including the need to install and deinstall a hard drive, an external or internal hard drive, and the relatively long period of time that it takes to actually mail one of those, and the costs associated with it as well. And so our new workflow for the Osteoarthritis Initiative is to allow those who are interested in obtaining images from that initiative to be able to sign on to an interactive web portal or website